Ethereum just hit a very special price target, and only the PulseChain holders really understand what this means. If you're not a PulseChain holder yet, pay attention. Because Ethereum just had a great week. On the month, it is up 54%, and I'm going to tell you why this matters so much, specifically for people in the PulseChain network. So a lot of Pulse holders, or Hex holders, or PulseX holders, they realize something that most of the market doesn't know yet, which is that $3,760 is a critical number for Ethereum. Why is that? It's because of the sacrifice wallet. You see, at the very beginning of PulseChain, when it was first launching, there was a sacrifice phase. A bunch of people sacrificed their crypto, and later on they were credited PLS and PLSX tokens. Now, this sacrifice phase ended up accumulating over $1 billion of tokens at the time. And although those tokens were converted to stablecoins, there was a trade made by the sacrifice wallet holder, which many people assume is Richard Hart. There's no proof of that, but I mean, you be the judge, okay? You believe whatever you want to believe. And this holder, a super large whale with $600 million, put it all into Ethereum at $3,700 all the way back a year and 3 months ago. And for a long time, that large sacrifice wallet that bought Ethereum at the local top was not in profit until today or yesterday, depending on where you live. Now, at the price of $37.60, you could see here on lookintorh.com that the sacrifice wallet will be in profit if Ethereum just goes like $10 higher. Earlier today, we had a green number here, but we're basically at break even. Why does this matter so much? Guys, a year and 3 months ago, the sacrifice wallet was seen buying its own coins. It was seen pumping up the ecosystem to light a spark that triggered a bunch of FOMO buying that a year and 3 months ago, with 10x higher liquidity, meaning things were harder to pump back then, and much more sell pressure and uncertainty in the presidential elections, higher interest rates, a lot of conditions were worse. And yet the sacrifice wallet lit a spark with about $7 to $10 million, which ignited a 7x run for Pulse and similar numbers, an 800% rise in Hex and PulseX, and many of the core coins and many of the meme coins pumped very hard during that time. Again, despite having a lot more legal uncertainty, we still had an SEC case back then. Now, since then, not only has Richard Hart and PulseChain defeated the SEC, but you've got 10 times lower liquidity, you've got regulatory clarity in general, you've got stable coins launching, you've got institutions aping into Ethereum for what could be an epic bull season that's kicked off by Ethereum. So people in crypto know that when Ethereum pumps, the altcoins pump next. And for a long time, the plebs that didn't understand delayed gratification, they like to point at this and say, oh my God, what a terrible trade. But today that trade is in profit, and it took an extra year, but here we are. So congratulations to the people holding through that year. A lot of people whined, cried, complained, capitulated, but things are finally turning a corner and looking up again. And all that really happened is that the 4-year cycle didn't play out the exact same way that every 4-year cycle played out in the past. And this time with institutional money and global liquidity getting on board. You've never had BlackRock, you've never had ETFs, you've never had mainstream Wall Street investing in Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now you do, which means we might have a little bit of an elongated cycle into 2026 perhaps. And like I said, this 600 million plus bag of Ethereum is generally looked at like an asset to the PulseChain community, because if this was deployed, even if a fraction of this was deployed, like it was in December of 2024, the amount that this bag could pump up the ecosystem, along with all the FOMO buying, along with all the marketing going on behind the scenes, it's ramping up. You should see some serious marketing campaigns in maybe a month or two. We could see really epic prices, kind of like we're seeing today. If you check out the last week alone on PLS, it's up 20%. Hex is up 32%, PulseX up 30%, INC up 17%. Now, I know it feels a little too early to celebrate. I know a lot of people are jaded. It's a lot of people's first brutal bear market, having to understand what volatility really means and holding long term. But these numbers are great to see. I'm personally relieved, but also, just as expected, Ethereum is coming around. It is useful. It's the substrate for all of decentralized crypto. All the DEX volumes go through Ethereum. All the stable coins that governments are pushing to different countries, these are all being deployed on ETH. Okay, ETH is the digital oil. It's the substrate that runs everything. And PulseChain's a clone of ETH. So when Ethereum pumps, a lot of people believe that PulseChain is another layer 1 blockchain with even more price potential, more pumpable opportunity, and it doesn't even require much. Okay, so let's say Ethereum goes to $10,000. Well, this number becomes from 624 million. Imagine if it over doubled to $1.5 billion, which could realistically happen. And imagine you have $1.5 billion. We can go to a price simulator over here. We could say, what if Ethereum was at a conservative $7,000? And what if the sacrifice bag only just sparingly dropped a tiny little spark to ignite the markets in the PulseChain ecosystem, Hex, PulseX, INC? We can calculate what would happen if, in a very conservative world, ETH is double the price, and something like 1/10 or less of the reserve was deployed, we would do triple-digit X's. This is real, assuming we live in a vacuum, but obviously there's buy pressure and sell pressure from retail, from holders. The thing about crypto is that when the prices go up, people generally want to buy more because it's the concept of a Veblen good. A Veblen good is something that when price goes up, demand also goes up. Most goods, when price goes up, demand goes down. People don't want to buy something typically when it gets more expensive, but in crypto, you got to understand it's the opposite. So people like to buy things after they've already pumped. Now, luckily you found this video early because you actually are still early. You actually are buying a chart that looks like this if you're going to buy PulseChain. You really are buying low to potentially sell high. And remember that year and a half ago I was talking about, well, maybe a year and a half ago is where the Sacrifice wallet converted his stablecoins into Ethereum. And then shortly thereafter, only 3 months after actually, we pumped to, seems to be about 6 to 7x higher than we were today. Now the market wasn't ready to have a crazy blow off top, okay? The market clearly wasn't ready. There was way more sell pressure and people that had to capitulate, like we've seen at this grinding, brutal, painful bear market. I'm not pretending it's all sunshine and rainbows here, but eventually, when things do turn around, it gets triggered by prices like this. And everybody calling for 10K Ethereum, I actually do think they're being a little conservative. 12 or 15 is a possibility. And this number is important to keep an eye on because you get to see how the number one supporter of the PulseChain ecosystem that has been seen not dumping his coins, like most founders dump their coins. The PulseChain founder or Sacrifice treasury, whatever you want to call this, I'm just going to call it the Sacrifice wallet. It was seen buying its coins, not selling its coins. Charlie Lee from Litecoin sold all of his Litecoin. Vitalik from Ethereum dumps all of his ETH all the time. They only sell, they're net sellers. And most founders, what you'll find is that's all they do, they sell. Now in Hex, the origin address wallet hasn't sold a single Hex in 5 years, and the PulseChain Sacrifice wallet hasn't sold a single coin. They converted it into Ethereum, probably waiting for an ETH pump. Yes, a little bit premature, but the thesis hasn't changed. Ethereum is the best developer community with the best roadmap, with the most utility, with the most global future acceptance, and more price potential because it's less liquid than something like Bitcoin. So enjoy the high prices today. Enjoy 32% up. We've got 777 for the Hex price. Pretty remarkable right here. Hex might be my favorite coin. It's hard to pick, but we've seen Hex go up 75% in the last 4 days alone. And if you're new to crypto and you're looking for an ecosystem with a solid founder, decentralized technology that can't be shut off, and a die-hard fanatic community that's locked in Hex, for example, for an average of 7 years, you found the right place. You also have plenty of meme coins and conspiracy theories to choose from if you're into that kind of thing. And if you want to know how to get in, I'll give you 2 quick and easy options, both links in the description below. This might be my favorite option, LibertySwap.finance. If you've got stable coins, you can buy stable coins on Robinhood, Coinbase, whatever. You buy some USDC, and if you want to get into this opportunity here, you go ahead and you swap that USDC for whichever one of these coins you want. Now, I obviously recommend Pulse PLS just to start because everything is tied to PLS, and Pulse has the most liquidity pairs, meaning you got to buy Pulse first as the gateway drug to buy everything else. But go ahead and enjoy, up to $5,000 at a time limit, and you can just do this as many times as you want. So 5,000 is the limit, but you can just do 4 times in a row if you got $20,000. You know what I mean? And if you want to link your bank account, I also really like this exchange as well. GainPulseChain.com, link in description below. If you use that link, you get 5,000 free tokens. And if you stake those tokens, you get lower fees on here. It's a good way to buy, and it's a good way to sell later on. Again, you link your bank. If you're in the USA, Europe, or whatever country, there's like over 100 countries that this works in. And what you're doing is you're sending money from your bank to the exchange, and that exchange is automatically buying coins for you and putting them directly in your wallet, in your MetaMask wallet. So that's the really cool part. The cool part is that if you have a MetaMask wallet, which you need to, if you want to get into crypto, this exchange never holds your coins. So you don't have to worry about an exchange getting hacked or going down because they send the coins straight to your wallet. They're basically just a bank conversion tool that stands outside of the flow of funds. I think Liberty Swap and Coast are the 2 secret weapons that's going to unlock tons of retail, of incoming liquidity, incoming money to make all these numbers go up. And as we've seen right here, it does not take much. So it's nice to be vindicated again for the Sacrifice wallet being basically in profit at this point. Break even, let's call it. And other people have taken notice. I mean, look at that Martini guy on Twitter. This guy's got 700,000 followers, a giant crypto influencer. Even he's pointing this out, that Richard Hart, or the Sacrifice wallet assumes to be Richard Hart by some people, held his ETH position and was down $300 million at one point. So he rode ETH all the way down from 3,700 to 1,800, and now he's back in profit, or back at break even. So you know that even when the mainstream crypto influencers are noticing, PulseChain does have a lot of brand name recognition. And just goes to show you that people have heard about it, whether they love it or hate it. The higher the price goes, the more aware everybody already is due to marketing stuff like this. I mean, it is a really big bag. And it's such a big bag that it's actually number 4 in terms of the highest strategic reserve holders. So this is a list of all the people holding Ethereum and some of the largest companies such as the Ethereum Foundation or Sharplink Gaming. And PulseChain's in here in 4th place with a $600 million bag, which could be $1 billion one day. It really could. I mean, it's ahead of Coinbase. So don't sleep on PulseChain if you're new, if you heard about it. The time to make a decision is before everybody's piling in. So don't say I didn't warn you. Make sure you like, subscribe, share the video, leave a comment. See you guys on the next one, and enjoy that $3,700 Ethereum.